All right, welcome. Today we are talking with Dr. Jennifer Stewart on the importance of sports safety in eyewear. I'm Mary Lanning, Senior Manager of Professional Business Development with Zyloware. September is Sports Safety Awareness Month, and so today we're joined with Dr. Jennifer Stewart, who is an expert on this topic. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Stewart.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about your passion for helping athletes and how you optimize their performance?
Sure. So I am a partner at Norwalk Eye Care, which is a large multi-doctor optometry practice in Norwalk, Connecticut. I'm also the co-founder and chief vision officer of Performance 2020, which is a sports and performance vision training center in Stamford, Connecticut. We started in 2016 working with athletes to improve eye-hand coordination, reaction, anticipation, and overall athletic performance. We're currently not working with athletes in person due to COVID, so we're figuring out how to transition our training to online and remote, which was something we were thinking about already. But we're trying to figure out how to utilize technology to work with our athletes. I've been a lifelong athlete. I was a Division I track and field athlete. I've transitioned to endurance sports and did triathlons, trail racing, road racing, and have recently again transitioned to reinvent myself in Olympic weightlifting. So
Wow, that's awesome. So I guess that's where this passion comes from.
yeah.
Being
Yeah.
in
So, a long time ago, I was fortunate to have some great mentors when I was in college. Who introduced me to the field. I wanted to figure out a way to combine my love of sports and athletics with a career. I knew I wasn't going to be a professional athlete. I still might have time, you never know. But, how to combine, my day career, my day job, and also work with athletes in a way that is fulfilling and helpful. And, to do what I'm doing now, if you had asked me 10 years ago that I would be doing all of this and having such a great platform to speak about not only sports and performance vision, but safety and awareness, and just kind of bringing the sport to the field out into the public. Yeah, I'm so fortunate to be here. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And you've trained some of the nation's, if not some of the world's best athletes. Can you talk on that a little?
Sure. So, we've always had the philosophy that sports and performance vision has been around for decades. I'm fortunate to come into a great field that I've had some great predecessors. And it's been around, but mostly for professional athletes or elite athletes. So our goal with Performance 2020 was to bring the field to everyone, to a youth athlete, recreational, adult athletes. We worked with a number of professional athletes in the NHL, the NFL, squash, professional figure skaters. So we've had the gamut of athletes, but I think the most rewarding for me are working with the young kids who are just super passionate about their sports, and really the parents who want to do everything they can to help their children be successful, be safe, and just realize their goals.
That's awesome. And you probably have seen some really great improvements in performance overall just by working with them and giving them the proper eye exam and training that they need. So that's really awesome.
It's been great. We really, part of the outreach is also having a comprehensive eye exam. I call that my main goal, is that to make sure that everyone realizes the importance that everyone needs a comprehensive eye exam, whether they think they see perfect. It goes beyond 2020. And we picked up some interesting findings in some of our athletes who have never had an eye exam but have been playing sports. But just seeing them improve just by fitting them with contact lenses, or getting them the proper eyewear that they need to get out on the field. So it's just great to see every level improve.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about sports safety awareness. And according to the 2019 Prevent Blindness report, there were over 31,000 sports-related eye injuries. Dr. Stewart, what are some of the most common sports-related eye injuries you see in your practice?
It's always interesting when I read these studies because you think that you know what the sport is. And, I think everyone, if you can take a guess before I tell you what the top sport is for injuries, I think the top two that most people, unless you know, would be surprised. It's actually basketball and aquatics pool sports. You would never guess that those combined for over 9,000 of those 31,000 injuries, which is shocking to me. We think, I guess I would think other sports,
I
but
would think baseball.
Football, you think of, but they were wearing face shields. So, I think that gives us a great reason to think beyond our normal thoughts about sports and to think about athletes and not just the athletes you think of as having eye injuries. One of the biggest ones I think of right now, it goes along with those statistics. Just last year, I had a young athlete who plays water polo and came in, he got poked in the eye while playing water polo. And, we did an exam and he had, subconjunctival hemorrhage, a corneal abrasion, and also some injury to his retina from that. If you had asked me before that and, knowing these statistics, I would not have guessed water polo, but I think we have to broaden our horizons to think of what an athlete is and to think outside the box about the athletes that are having these injuries.
Absolutely. And obviously the injuries that you see, I'm sure most of them were not wearing sports safety eyewear.
I don't think most athletes in general are wearing sports safety eyewear, and that's a conversation that starts in the exam room. And I think one of the big misconceptions is that my child sees fine. And, I along with most of us that are listening, I can rattle off a number of patients that I've seen that come in and their child is 20/50, 20/40, and they're playing baseball, they're playing soccer. And I have a frank conversation with them and say, I know you think your child sees just fine, but it's honestly not worth them going even out there to play if they're not being corrected. And they kind of look at me and I say, well, you're spending all this time and money on training and practices and coaches, but they're not seeing well. And, especially if they're 20/50, they wouldn't even be allowed to drive a car. So why are we sending them out on the field in these situations with other players and balls? And, it's a focus on performance. How could we perform our best when we're not even seeing remotely clear? And how do we stay protected with the focus on concussion and injury? We're sending these kids out there not only seeing well, but unprotected. And, what I say in the exam room, and I say this a million times a week, is that regular eyewear has no place on a playing field. We don't go out and play soccer in our flip-flops, and people laugh about that. And I ask athletes that. I said, those flip-flops you've got on right now, would you go out and play soccer? And they laugh and say, no, I'd break a toe. And I said, well, why would you wear your regular glasses out on the field? It's just as much of a risk for injury. So just like we suit up to play sports and with our footwear, our shin guards, our protective gear, we need to start making that shift in eyewear and thinking about suiting up with our eye protection as well.
Well, and also to that point, even the athlete that has 20/20 vision, if you think about it, some of those injuries that can cause severe vision impairment along, for many years to come, if we really need to protect all eyes, not just the ones not just the ones that can't see well.
Absolutely. I think it's such a great opportunity that we're missing with our athletes that are not even coming in for eye exams. And, I ask every parent about their children. I have 2 young boys, so it's a great way to connect with the patient, but also, to talk about the importance of comprehensive eye exams, even at young ages. And even if they pass the pediatrician screening, even if they pass the school screening, part of my role is to educate parents about the importance of a comprehensive eye exam. But also in that, I say, even if your child has perfect vision, which is great, there's still an opportunity for them to have correction when they're out on the playing field. And it's not only reserved for those who need that correction, but also our contact lens wearers. We have a huge contact lens practice, and I fit young children with contact lenses for sports, but those are the athletes who also need to be wearing protective eyewear, even if they're wearing contact lenses.
Yeah, I agree. We put so much time and money into all the protective gear, including the mouthpieces, to protect our teeth more than we
You
do
can
our
get
eyes.
new teeth. You can always get new teeth. You can't get new eyes.
Exactly. That's true. So the ASTM International is the international standard organization that develops the technical standards for a wide range of materials and products, including sports protective eyewear. Dr. Stewart, why do you think that wearing ASTM tested and approved eyewear for sports and recreation is so important versus regular daily wear?
So I think as eye care professionals and our staff, we need to be well versed, and we need to take that as our responsibility for making sure that all of the sports eyewear that we're prescribing, dispensing is independently tested. And it's not enough to say that this is sports eyewear and it's safe, because if it's not tested, you can't say that. So I'm a stickler for making sure that everything that's dispensed in my office stands up to the standards that I have, and they're high. We don't need to be able to spout out, I think, the exact number of the ASTM standard. And, I think, I'm a little more well-versed, but still not perfect in knowing exact every standard. But I know for sure that the eyewear that I have in my office is independently tested and is appropriate for certain sports. So if you are not well-versed, I really encourage you to do some research and look at the ASTM standards for the different sports, because it's not just one standard for all sports. There's specific eyewear that is approved for different sports. So making sure that we do understand that, and our opticians and our staff understand that, is very important. But everything that we are dispensing for sports should be independently tested and certified.
I agree. And I spent the first 18 years of my career in optical as an optician, and it really starts with the optical professionals to educate. I saw many parents come in who had been told that, their metal frames with an impact resistant lens would protect their eyes, but I saw so many injuries from those same metal frames once they broke and got hit in the face with an object, and the metal, that's so dangerous around your eyes and your face anyway. But
And preventable. It's
very
preventable.
Yeah, and it does start with the eye care professionals.
I think it's also a great way to differentiate ourselves and to set ourselves apart. And with all of the online vendors and the Amazons and all of the other places that are now available for our patients to shop and to get eyewear, I think setting ourselves apart and having that conversation in the office, in the exam room, in the dispensary about why our products are superior and why our patients should buy from us. I can't imagine as a parent that if somebody told me that this is eyewear that is independently certified and is safe for your child to play a sport in, and the sport that my child is playing in, why would I then go shop online and take a chance that what I'm buying, while maybe not even a little bit, maybe a little less expensive, but if it's not certified and not safe for my child, there's no way that I would make that decision as a parent to gamble with that. But I think we make an assumption that patients know that what we have is right and that it's appropriate. But if we're not telling the patient and educating them on why they need to do this and why it's important and why this eyewear is essential for them, they will go shop online because they don't have this, they don't understand. So, to set ourselves apart in this day and age with all of the competition we have, I think this takes it a step further.
Yeah, I agree. Last year, Zyloware launched a collection of sports protective eyewear, Shaq Eye Gear. And not only does everyone love Shaq, we all love him, he's the best, but we really tried to focus on fit and comfort and personal style. And I think that's what completely sets these apart from anything else in the market today. Right now we have 5 core colors and interchangeable colored straps so that everyone can personalize with their own team colors or their favorite color. This year we're actually launching a camo color.
Oh.
Yes, and we call it Splat. It's just got just a shot of color across the frame material. It's really neat, and some more customizable straps. So we're really excited for those. And of course, these are ASTM tested and approved. And we also do our own independent testing. So when we send it out there, we want to make sure that, you know, they're going to do what we say they're going to do, and they're going to protect our kids and protect our loved ones. So another misconception is that sports protective eyewear is only for kids. So do you want to give some feedback on that?
I think the camo is going to be a huge huge home run. I was just before this doing some back to school shopping, and my 7-year-old only wants to wear camo. So I know what we'll be buying as well.
Oh.
You know, I think that is the misconception, and that it's only for kids. And, you know, I think if we look at all of our patients as athletes, which is what we do, and at Performance 2020, I wasn't only working with kids. I was working with adult recreational basketball players. I had adult squash players, tennis. They're just, adults are still playing sports. You know, somebody like me keeps reinventing themselves as an athlete. So I think we also need to broaden our definition of what an athlete is. And it's not only somebody who's competitive, it's somebody who's moving their body. And that's what we talk about at Performance 2020. We've had, you know, some of the parents say, can I train with you? Even though I'm not really a competitive athlete, I play tennis. And I said, well, why are you not an athlete? You are an athlete. If you are moving your body and you are active, you're an athlete. And we need to broaden our definition, especially for adults who might not consider themselves an athlete because they're not competing, but they're playing in a weekend basketball league. They're playing pickleball. They're playing tennis. They're playing all of these sports that are still sports that are a high risk for injury. I mean, basketball being the number one in that study. So, you know, how many men and women are playing in adult recreational leagues for basketball? They need to be corrected and protected as well.
I agree. I've never heard of pickleball.
It's like the fastest growing sport ever. It's huge. And pickleball, it came up on one of my last Sports Vision talks. It's hugely fast growing sport. So I'm sure there are people on here right now who are well versed in pickleball. It's a huge opportunity. So for every one of you, your homework is tomorrow to start talking about pickleball to all your patients. So
I'm going to bring pickleball to Texas. I don't know if we have it here yet, but
it's coming.
So as a retailer, how do you incorporate sports protective eyewear into your practice? I know some of the common misconceptions there are that, well, you know, they just kind of sit to the back of the store, and if somebody asks for it, we dust them off and bring them out. So how do you promote success with a collection like that?
Yeah, it's like, let me get that out of the bottom drawer, and you know, I promise these are in, I promise. So, you know, I think something like Shack Eye Gear really takes it to the next level. And I've had the opportunity to see them and try them on and wear them, and they're fun. And I think right now, if you look at any company, what's popular is athleisure. You know, we are not dressing up. We are not wearing fancy clothes, although you and I are, but you know, we're all on the top, you know, but we're all wearing athleisure, and kids especially are, you know, my kids went back to school this week, and as much as I tried to get them to dress up, they wore camo and they wear active gear. So I think we're perfectly positioned to make sports safety eyewear not the goggles and the huge sports glasses of the past that were, you know, kids did not want to wear them. Parents would buy them and say, oh gosh, you know, it's such a battle. These are cool. They're colorful. They're trendy. You know, I've had a number of parents say to me, you know, we bought both pairs of glasses, and, you know, I'm in the back of my head, I'm going, oh my gosh, they're going to say their son never wore them. And they said, all he wants to wear are his sports eyewear. And I'm like, phew. I said, that's awesome. You know, they said, just, you know, that's all. They don't want to wear their dress glasses. They want to wear their sporty glasses. And I think if we can make that, you know, more of a popular opinion, then we're all going to be more successful. But it starts in the exam room. It starts in the optical. It starts with us having the product out, visible, you know, having POP, having it, you know, displayed correctly and merchandised, not hidden in a drawer that we have to, you know, find. And we have to make it look like this is something we do all the time, and that it's fun, and that everyone's wearing that, versus, you know, let's go find it deep in the depths of that closet in the back and hope that we have something. But I think if we can change our mindset from them being sports goggles that are, horrible, and so making it, sorry, you have to wear this, sorry, you have a prescription, and sorry, Johnny, you're the only kid on your team with this glasses, to, wow, Johnny, where'd you get those camo cool glasses? I want a pair. And, if we can make that conversation, make it the sneakers that everyone wants, and that you want kids coming in and you want those referrals. Not only does it become a great second or third pair, but you get these great referrals, and you're providing something that is keeping your patients safe.
I agree. And the thing I love two things most about them. I have one right here. So I love the color strap that you can customize. I think that's super cool. But I also love this ginormous cleaning cloth that comes, it's Shaq size cleaning cloth that comes with it. But I have three boys, and my oldest son's in the military. And so I've already put in my request for a camo pair. So I love them. And my 13-year-old doesn't wear glasses. He's 20/20, but when he saw them, he wants a pair to wear for baseball. He can't wait.
I think we're going to request a camo pair here as well. So.
I'll make sure you get one. Now, do you need two?
Two camo.
Be the same.
Yes, the same.
Yeah.
But I think if we can make that, if we can position them as fun and not, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Smith, that your son needs to wear sports eyewear, but you are so lucky that you get to wear these really cool, colorful, pieces. And, oh, what are your school colors? Oh, they're blue and red. Well, you know what? Very cool. You actually can match your eyewear to your, your uniform. And, in the world of customization and customized shoes, and, my kids went off to school today. On Fridays, they wear their school colors. So everyone wants to belong. Everyone wants to be part of a team, especially right now. I think anything we can do to even be more connected. So I think it's just such a great way to build community and school spirit, that I think if, you have one or two kids on a team who are wearing these customized sports safety eyewear, that are their team colors or a camo, I think the referrals are just going to keep coming in as well.
Yeah, I agree. So when you're promoting sports safety eyewear, obviously it does start with your team and how they educate. What leading questions do you ask in the beginning of the exam to get you there and to provide that education?
So we start before they even walk in the door, and we, when we have patients coming in, we ask them before they come in to bring all of their eyewear, including sunglasses, sports eyewear, medications, etc. But we plant the seed ahead of time to have them think maybe, oh, sports eyewear, I don't have that, but should I? Same with sunglasses and prescription and non-prescription glasses. So I think it starts before they even come in the office, that you're asking these questions so that they have an idea of what to bring in, but also, start to think about their life. When they check in, they have a questionnaire, and one of those questions is, what sports or hobbies or other, I forget how it's worded, but we ask about sports and hobbies. And that's a great leading question for me, because I'll, take a quick glance and say, oh, I see you play baseball, and not all of us have to be sports professionals. And, and I think that's a question I get a lot from doctors. I like sports, but I don't know everything about sports. And I said, if you think I know everything about sports, you're crazy. I started a sports and performance vision training center in a hockey rink, and I had never had any experience with hockey. So, I think you don't have to be an expert on everything, but you have to be an expert on understanding why it's important to protect and every sport. So, again, going back to the ASTM standards is huge, and just letting patients know, oh, you play lacrosse? Well, did you know that there's a specific standard for you that your eyewear should meet? Do you know if those glasses you're wearing meet those standards? Knowing full well they don't. Well, if you're not sure, the only way to know that is that we know that the glasses that we're dispensing are independently tested and meet all of the standards for your sport. So, knowing enough about the sports and the specific eyewear needs, I think will give us a leg up. But just, having a conversation about sports. Everyone wants to talk about their sports or their children's sports. And it's a great segue into having a patient connection, but also it gives you that opportunity to bring that up. And I see, Sarah plays soccer. Can you tell me a bit about what happens when she suits up for a game? What kind of gear is she wearing? Oh, she wears cleats and shin guards and a mouth guard. That's great. Just how is she protecting her eyes? I don't know. And that's a great segue into talking about the importance of protecting their eyes. And the great thing is we are sports vision professionals here. And my Judy, my optician, can show you the newest in independently certified eyewear. So I think just asking questions throughout the exam process, having your technicians ask, having POP, we have brochures pre-COVID, we took that all away, but, having have it displayed well, and have, the best is when patients see it and ask about it. But you have it displayed in a fun way, have literature available, but, don't wait for patients to ask you. And I think a lot of us wait for that question, but patients don't know to ask. So we need to provide that information instead of waiting for them to ask about what their children need to do for sports.
I agree. And there's so many added benefits, like you mentioned, multiple pair. It increases your revenue at your practice, but even the child that comes in with 20/20 vision, the great thing about Sheck Eye Gear is they can wear them out the door and they meet the standards in the Plano lens. So just having that protection and being able to accessorize, as you mentioned, it's just such an added benefit for your practice. So I know that you provide a wide variety of educational tools and you speak. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you do to promote education on this?
So I'm a member of the advisory board for the International Sports Vision Association, which is a great organization aimed at educating and promoting the field of sports and performance vision. So it's a great network of doctors and other healthcare professionals who are interested in sports vision at any level. And I get a lot of questions from doctors and other professionals who want to do something, but they say, I can't quite do what you do. And I said, it doesn't matter. We can all have an impact at some level. And it might not be that you want to have a sports and performance vision training center, but you love sports and you love athletics and you're an optometrist. So usually my first recommendation is to start talking about sports and just, craft a 30-second message and just start using that in your conversation with your patients, and have the eyewear in your dispensary to back that up. And it's probably the lowest cost way to get into sports and performance vision, instead of spending money on equipment and training center and training facility and staff. And that's another great way to do it. But the first step, I think, for anyone who's interested in this field is to start doing it in your existing office and start having the conversation, refresh yourself on all of the standards and what you need to be talking about and what your staff needs to understand. Attend meetings. The International Sports Vision Association puts on some really, really great education. We have a meeting in February 2021. Don't know, hopefully that's in person. But it's a great way to start networking also. But I think the first step for all of us is just using what we have and using the experience and the knowledge we have. We are eye care professionals, whether we're an optometrist, an optician, staff in an office. Just start refreshing yourself on what's out there and what's available, and bring in Sheck Eye Gear, bring it into your office and start using it and start working on the conversation of how that will fit. And then if you want to continue and get into the performance side, that's when you can start working on, evaluation and training of athletes. But I think all of us as optometrists and opticians and anyone in the eye care industry, this is our realm. We should own this, and we should be doing this well, and we should be doing it often. So it's a great first step into the sports and performance vision world.
I agree. And where can people reach out to you or view some of the educational talks that you've given in the past, or view some of your resources personally? Do you have a website or?
I do. Perform 2020, www.perform2020.com is Performance 2020's website. I'm reachable on there. And Also the International Sports Vision Association, ISVA, is a great resource. It's a great network of doctors who are doctors and professionals throughout the world who are interested in some level. I think just going to meetings, looking at education that's available. I've done a ton of talks, so if you Google, you'll find them. I'm just very passionate about protection and for making sure that my patients are protected, but also empowering optometrists, opticians, and staff to have that conversation and to make it simple. I think we're so bombarded in the exam room with all of the things we need to cover. We're trying to get in and out quickly, especially right now. No one wants to spend a half an hour or 45 minutes in an exam room. So we're trying to do everything and be complete and have a relationship with our patients. But there's some great ways to just make it a short conversation. And I try and hone my message down to 10 to 30 seconds and make it precise but powerful. So practice on somebody, practice on a staff member. I'm always fixing what I say in an exam room. I'll come out and go, oh, that didn't really go well. I don't really think I understand what I said. So, but it takes practice and it takes thought and it takes consideration. But once you have that message and once you see that message carry through to your patients going out into the optical, putting on that pair of cool camo glasses, and then having your first referral from another family who saw that cool camo pair of glasses and now wants their own. Once you start to see that and feel good that you're protecting your patients also, and you're preventing these 31,000 eye injuries, especially in these sports that you would have never expected, it just feels good. It feels good. Your revenue will go up, so we'll be more successful, but we can feel good that we're doing the right thing for our patients.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. You're just fabulous as always. You can view this webinar and other links to Shack Eye Gear at Zyloware.com, and also we are Zyloware.com. So again, thank you, Dr. Stewart.
Thank you.
You've just provided so many great tools and knowledge for Sports Safety Awareness Month. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.